Good morning, everybody. How are you all? This is Katie from Bath. Hi, Katie.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Fab.
Bit snowy outside. I don't know what it's like
Yeah,
where you are, but
yeah, very snowy. We've got some half melting snowmen in our garden.
oh right, yes, yes, plenty of those around the village where I live too.
Yeah.
Um, but uh, thank you for agreeing to speak to us today. I just wondered if you wouldn't mind sharing your stroke story with us.
Of course. So it's a bit of a different. Excuse me, sorry, my children are about to come running in my house.
Oh,
Timing. So I had my stroke when I was 6. So I think that's kind of different to probably everybody else in the group. I don't really know why. So I was in. They obviously did lots of tests there and then, but sort of it started with me waking up in the morning, and just I don't really remember anything. So this is the story of what I know from sort of my parents and my brothers and sisters. So I woke up with a headache, and I was very clumsy, very disorganized, very disorientated, which was sort of getting worse and worse throughout the day. And sort of by the evening, my face on the left side had completely dropped, and sort of I quickly got a lot worse, and sort of I couldn't move, couldn't walk, just sort of slumped on the sofa. So then I was taken to A&E, and I stayed there overnight, and then I got transferred to Great Ormond Street. So I spent sort of 3 or 4 weeks in Great Ormond Street, when they realised that I'd had a stroke, and I was sort of in a ward with a few other children that had had strokes. Obviously, so this was 25 years ago, so very uncommon. Well, very uncommon now, but sort of we know that sort of I think 400 children a year have strokes.
that's right. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm one of them. So that left me with um, basic really bad spasticity in my left arm and leg. So my arm is sort of held upright. My wrist is completely closed on the left side. You'll probably see it poking up and down when I'm doing it. And I sort of have limited walking abilities. I can walk independently, but not far, and sort of it's very, very painful. I sort of suffer with foot drop quite a lot, so I trip and fall over. Um, yeah, so that's the kind of the main crux of it. I sort of get by using one side of my body. And yeah, sort of, I managed okay though. I've managed okay over the last few years. I've sort of in the last year or so, I'm going downhill rapidly. But so I've got 2 kids, so I've sort of managing with them the best I can. They're 7 and 4 at the moment. Yeah, just kind of getting on with it really.
You say you feel like you're going downhill. Do you think that's because of COVID and the effects of lockdown, or?
I'm not sure. I think I got to 30 and my body said, no, you're not doing it anymore. Everything just seems to have gone slightly downhill from 30. So I'm 31 now, but sort of everything seems harder and a lot more work since lockdown. I have Botox injections in my left side, which relieves the spasticity. So I haven't. They cancelled those in the first lockdown. So I haven't had those for nearly a year now. So it'll be a year. And I had it, I think, about a week before the first lockdown. I was due to have it again in sort of October, and then about a week before that, they found some blood clots in my lungs. So therefore, I had to go on blood thinners, and I couldn't have the injections. So yeah, so life without Botox is really difficult because I'm just in a lot of pain all of the time. My body's tight all of the time. My spasticity.
Right.
So,
So that's what you have Botox for pain relief more than
yeah,
giving you any use spike, is that?
yeah. So what it does in my arm, it completely, if you want, paralyzes my arm. So I can't. I have more use of my arm because I can kind of use my thumb to hook things on, and but when I have Botox, I have none of that. So it's kind of half of 1/6. Yeah, it's kind of difficult because although I don't have any use of my arm, I'm not in pain. So it kind of outweighs the good outweighs the bad. I take that any.
Yeah. Is medication useful?
I have
That?
tried so many medications. My cupboard upstairs is like a pharmacy, because I've tried lots of muscle relaxants, but they make me really, really tired
Right, yeah.
to the point where I wouldn't be able to drive and just really drowsy. And when I've got 2 kids around, I just can't be like that, especially as I'm homeschooling them. It's already hard enough. So that's kind of a no-go for me, really. I already have really bad fatigue from the stroke. So putting anything else on that is kind of a bit of a no-go. I have tried quite a few though.
Yeah, I know what you mean, because my stroke affected my right side, and although I have got a fair amount of use back in that right hand side, I'm like you. I did have Botox,
Did you?
but mine wasn't for pain as such. It was more for high tone. I
Yeah.
would wake up in the middle of the night with somebody digging their nails into me, and it would actually be me. But overnight, my arm gets really tight. So that's why I had Botox. So it did help to a certain degree. But like you, they did prescribe me amitriptyline,
Yeah.
which I think sometimes you can use it as an antidepressant, but I think they do give it more and more for people with situations like ours. And but like you say, it can leave you with a fuzzy head.
Yeah, it's a brain fog that I could just
Yeah.
that anyway, let alone having, and I think it's kind of controllable when it's not on medication.
Yes.
But yeah, I do really suffer with the tone in my arm as well. So that all goes away with the Botox. But yeah, sort of without it, it's been really difficult.
Oh, well, fingers crossed they reschedule that for you
Yeah, it should be
soon.
soon, hopefully, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Sort of the year before COVID, they'd taken it all away because of funding anyway.
Oh.
So in our area, they just stopped funding it because it is very expensive. I think it's about £2,000 a time every 3 months.
Right.
Is what they said to me. So I'm kind of used to not having it and having it. Now I feel like it's never going to be a regular thing that I can depend on to sort of to use all the time.
Yeah. I wonder when this is all over, get them to refer you to a pain relief clinic
Yeah.
rather than a neurological clinic, and get back in the system that way.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Sorry, it's just that in a previous life I used to be a nurse and a midwife, so I think
Oh,
I'm a big advocate for pain relief clinics. They
yeah.
really good. Yeah. Oh, crikey. So you've got your 2 youngsters at home,
Mhm.
and I believe you're homeschooling.
Yeah, a little bit
Yeah.
trying.
What's your speciality?
Oh, none. Certainly not PE, that's tell you that. Yeah, no, I'm lucky enough to work for the NHS, so I work 3 or 4 days a week. So they are actually going to school and having some sort of contact with their teachers. Because it would be a bit hopeless if it was just left to me, to be honest.
Does that give you a break? Do you feel like
Yeah,
going to work, you're having a rest?
yeah, 100% actually. It's completely different because I feel like when I go to work, I have a physical rest because I don't have to get up and get snacks. And my kids are kind of old enough to be independent now, but I don't need to be on hand to move around or take them places or any kind of thing. But I do very much. Then it kind of affects me mentally. So when I'm at home, I have a mental rest. So from sort of the having to be switched on, the brain fog and that kind of thing, then when I'm at work, I have a physical rest from having the physical demands of having children. So it's kind of it's kind of managing the both, really.
Yeah. Now, your children obviously born after your stroke. How do they see you or treat you? Do you think that they treat you any differently?
I don't think so. I'd like to think not. I mean, I've always talked about it with them from a very since my eldest is sort of 2 or 3, since he was old enough to notice. They kind of, I explained to them in sort of age appropriate terms, like mummy's got a good hand and a bad hand. They know what mummy can and can't do. And sort of as my sort of physical state's getting slightly worse, they are having to adapt to that a bit more. They've always been very independent since when they were really little. I've always made sure they can do stuff for themselves. But yeah, I don't think so. They are happy to ask. We talk about it all the time. It's never off limits.
Yeah.
They just kind of accept it. They know that mummy can do things and some things, and mummy can't do other things. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe them on the mic to see.
Yeah, yeah. Is that well? My daughter was 5 months old when I had my stroke, so she's never known me be any different either. And it used to be quite a sweet thing that she used to say things to me like chase me, and I'd say, "Oh, mummy can't run, mummy can't run," and she'd say, "Oh, I'll teach you. This is how you do it, and this is how you jump. This is how you do it, mummy," because she was, just wanting to be really helpful.
Yeah, they're
And,
really sweet like that. Their minds work really, really sweet.
yeah.
I remember one day out of the blue, my little boy must have been about 4, and we were talking about what he wanted for Christmas, and then I said, "Oh, isn't anyone going to ask what Mummy wants for Christmas?" And he said, "Mummy, do you want some medicine to make your arm better?"
Oh,
Just,
yeah. It's heartbreaking, isn't it? Yeah.
it is just because it doesn't come up all the time, and I guess sometimes I forget and they forget, and then I think, oh, I'm
Yeah.
thinking about it.
Yeah.
But I think because it wasn't a sudden thing. They've always known me like this. They've always like photos they see of before they were born, and I've grown up like it. So my hand's always been like that. I've always struggled with walking. So I just think I would hope they just see me as me and not.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's not a before and after.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, because I used to say to my daughter, who's now 21, I used to say to her, "You never cut me any slack when you were a teenager." You never thought, poor mum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that is one of the challenges, is to teach them. It's teaching them that sort of it's okay that I can't do all the things that
Yeah.
that they want me to, and that there's alternatives. But I can't do this, but I can do something else.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's interesting how the little ones are just so adaptable, I think.
Yeah. I think what really helps is giving them the language to talk about it as well. So they are, because I always have a bit of fear that they're going to be sort of teased in the playground.
Yeah.
So I've always tried to sort of give them the language to talk about it and tell their friends if they want to or not.
Yeah. Yeah. I think children are much a lot of them don't notice that you're any different. And it's yeah, they just accept you. I think they're much more accepting than we give them credit for, I think.
Definitely more than the adults.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So when you're off out to work, and I know you're in a busy environment, aren't you? What kind of is it something, the occupation that you do, is it something that you would say is uh, something that was easy for you to get into, or just something that you found just fitted in with your lifestyle at the time?
Yeah, so I just kind of fell into it. I've only been doing the job for sort of a year. Originally, actually, when I I went to university when I was 18 and trained to be an occupational therapist. But I've never worked in occupational therapy. After I qualified, I sort of struggled to find a job, so I just kind of fell into a different job. And then I had my babies, and so I work part-time 3 days a week at the moment in a GP's surgery, sort of in the reception area, answering calls and doing lots of admin and things. And it just kind of, just kind of fell into it, really.
Yeah.
But I quite enjoy that it's quite busy all the time, and sort of we do lots of different things. But it does allow me to sort of, just be able to work for a few hours a week. So I only sort of do 15 hours a week.
Right. I bet your training in occupational therapy, even though you never used it as a job, it'll come in really handy handling patients.
Yeah, I always say that one day I'd love to go back. I'd love to go back and do it one day. It's just forcing myself to have sense to be able to do it after so long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A hard job. I used to take my hat off to people because being a nurse, if you needed some help, it was so easy to call on the occupational therapist to help people.
Yeah. Yeah. One day I'll get back into it.
Your daily skills. Oh, that's really good. So when I know we've had our ups and downs this last 12 months with lockdown, the initial lockdown where everything was closed down, and then we all got our freedom again and enjoyed the summer.
Now we've lost it again.
And then we've lost it again. What are you missing? Do you think? Are you missing anything in particular?
What are no people? I miss people. And just I guess just the way it used to be. Like I find it so difficult now because basically lockdown's taken away all of my support system. Look at all of my coping mechanisms I found have been challenged by lockdown. Everything I thought that I was sort of put in place to manage my tiredness or the physical things I can do by taking away everybody around me that doesn't live inside my house is basically it's difficult that I can't say to my mum or my sister or my friends, actually, I'm really tired. Can you take the kids for a walk? Because I actually can't do that today. So it just sort of means that we miss out on that situation, or even them being at school and having hot dinners so that I don't have to sort of do anything for their tea because they can, sort of I can manage on the bare minimum of making them a sandwich for dinner. But if they're at home all the time, they sort of don't get that, and it's difficult when the only way you can have contact with people is outside, or at the moment we can only go for exercise with people where I can't walk that far, so I can't
Right. Yeah.
meet up with a friend to go for a walk because I just can't do it. And sort of if that's the only way you can socialize with people, it basically has meant I haven't socialized with people outside my house.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that gets a bit much sometimes. And so being able to go to indoor places, just sort of like to my mum's house or something, to just sit and have a cup of tea. So much of what I would do for socializing would just be inside activities. Sort of really missing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just getting back into that. Yeah. Fingers crossed.
It's even sort of there, like if I have medical appointments and sort of having my husband having to take annual leave from work so I can go to them, like everything seems like so much more of an effort when it's just sort of the four of you at home, I guess.
Yeah. I don't think we realise just how not easy, but easier it makes it if somebody could just take the little ones for a couple of hours to.
Well, I think just being able to go to someone's house and have a chat is what I really miss, and sort of the socialising with other people.
Yeah, it is. It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah, but it is what it is. I'm lucky enough to have had my vaccine last week, so
Yeah.
so hopefully things will be on the up again soon.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Look on the bright side. I think that's we're so used to.
Yeah, well, optimism isn't really my strong point at the moment.
Yeah. One of my friends was just saying, "Oh, shall we book a holiday for September?" I went, "September 2021 or September
Yeah.
2022?"
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? Everything we've known has just
Yeah,
gone up in the air.
yeah. So I think let's just get through today. Have a good day today. As long as we've got food on the table and the
Yeah,
boiler works and the TV works.
yeah, and Zoom works.
Yeah, and Zoom. Yeah, yeah, we've all become um, a bit more au fait with Zoom, haven't we? I think.
Yeah, yeah, kind of fond of a Friday night quiz now.
Are you? Oh, good. Yeah, I've done a few of the different strokes quizzes. I don't know if you've.
Oh, I haven't given them a go actually.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, they're really good fun. I've come nowhere near uh, winning, but I think there's one this Thursday night, so maybe.
Oh, I'll have to give that a go.
Yeah, so yeah, they're quite good. You watch Joe on your laptop, say,
Yeah.
and then you answer the questions on your smartphone.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I think
It's quite good, quite fun. So, but I'm no danger of walking away with the prize, so I just do it for fun.
yeah. I
I'm
wouldn't
not
be
I'm not
either.
quick enough. I'm not quick enough, or in most cases, don't know the right answer. So, yeah, yeah. When you do go out, do you walk or do you have a mobility aid? Do you?
No, I at the moment I walk. I do walk, but I'm about to buy a scooter actually, a mobility scooter, because it's just become a bit much. I've just been finding myself not going out.
Right.
See, when going out for a walk is all you can do,
Yes.
I just found myself a bit housebound. So I think yeah, I've been putting it off for a year or so probably,
Yeah.
and sort
But
of
if it just gives you that little bit more independence.
yeah, but I have the added sort of difficulty of because it's all of my disability is down the left side, obviously how it is with with strokes that I'm just trying to find a mobility scooter that I can use or
Right. Yeah.
I can't take things apart. A lot of them come in 5 different parts. So
Yes. You've got to be able to lift the battery or whatever.
yeah. So I'm in sort of which obviously makes it if you need like a fancy one, it then makes it more and more expensive.
Yeah.
Um, So yeah, hopefully by the end of the month, I'll have myself a little mobility scooter, and I will be able to go.
Yeah. Hopefully the weather.
Yeah, sort of a year ago, probably 18 months ago, I was able to walk around sort of as much as I could. I mean, we live quite close to Longleat Safari Park, so we'd go there for the day. And but the thought of that doing that now is just impossible.
Right. Yeah.
So I'd like to be able to sort of go on walks and go out for the day and stuff rather than just staring at my four walls.
Yeah. So has your lung condition resolved itself with the blood
Yeah.
thinner? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so I think so. I hope so. That was actually I only found that out because I was having a scan for something else, just for like a cough I've had for months, a non-COVID one. Don't worry.
Right. I was going to say nothing to do with COVID.
No, I've been lucky enough not to catch COVID, thankfully. Um, so yeah, so that's all fine now, as sort of as far as I know. So it's just
Yeah.
yeah, the mobility.
Well, that's good news that that's resolved.
Yeah.
But we have to take a blood thinner now for the rest of your life.
No, well, I'm not sure. So I have to. I've had them for 3 months, and it's coming to the end next week. So then I have to have a blood test just to check for. I can't remember what the name is, but like when you have sticky blood.
Right. Yeah. For lupus or.
Yeah, something like that. So they'll check that at the end of next month, and then I'll know whether I have to take them for
Right.
foreseeable.
Yeah.
I hope not, because they said to me, oh, don't have any sort of head injuries, or you have to sort of go to A&E. And the amount of times I've stopped my children clonking me on the head with something, or sort of had to be extra careful.
Maybe it was because you were a child when you had your stroke, but I've been on a blood thinner ever since I had my stroke.
Yeah.
I just used to take an aspirin every day, and now
See,
I take something called cloppy. Can never pronounce it properly, so a
oh
lot.
yeah, I know what one you mean, but I
It's
can't.
clopidogrel or clopidogrel, or because apparently that's the drug of choice to be on long term.
Oh really? Yeah. I wonder if I do need to go on long term. I'm on a Pixban at the moment, but I
Oh
wonder
right,
if different one.
yeah,
But I did after my stroke. So I did take aspirin until I was 12. So for 6 years after I had my stroke, and then they said that I didn't need to anymore. So I don't.
right. Yeah.
I don't. I don't remember really anything. Actually, a lot of my childhood I don't remember at all now. So I don't really know.
Yeah.
But I think now that I've had this latest thing in my lungs, blood clot in my lungs, they're doing a little bit more sort of research to see if they can find a reason behind my stroke now.
Right.
Let's see now, but I've actually got a 4-day heart monitor on that I had fitted this morning.
Right.
Just to double check that there's nothing, and I've had an ultrasound of my heart to make sure there's no other reasons that they missed before.
Right.
So we're talking like 25 years ago now. The technology that they use is completely different.
Technology's moved on a lot, hasn't it?
Yeah, so that's quite comforting that they're doing that, because I don't know why I had my stroke, and that's always been like a source of anxiety for me, because
Yeah.
I always in the back of my head think, oh, what if it happens again? I don't know what circumstances led to that, so I feel quite relieved that they're looking into it now, and I will hopefully feel more relieved if they don't find anything. I don't know what would be better.
Yes. Well, I suppose it's dual-edged sword, isn't it? That if they don't find anything, then that's good. But if they do find something, then there'll be a treatment for it.
I mean, I made it sort of 25 years off without having another one, so I doubt there's sort of another stroke in my future, but you never know, really, do you?
Yeah. And when you had your children, did you have any special anything special to do when you were pregnant with your children?
No, so I just had to take, I think I had to take aspirin when I was pregnant, from like 28 weeks. And then I had to have injections, so heparin injections after I gave birth for 3 weeks or so, I think, maybe 6 weeks. But other than that, and the kids have been fine, although I haven't had to have any special anything.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. It's quite reassuring, because there's probably going to be a few young women who are listening to this who've maybe recently had strokes and will want to go on to have a family.
Yeah, I think because there was no reasoning behind it that we know of. They're sort of perfectly happy for me. I had 2 natural births, and
Right, so you just had the precautionary
yeah,
aspirin and blood thinner afterwards. Just
yeah. And then I had to the advice that I gave birth in sort of the local hospital, the main hospital, rather than a midwife centre.
right. Yeah, just in case. Yeah.
Yeah, it was all really uncomplicated. I had 2 really uncomplicated pregnancies. Yeah.
Pitchwood, thank you. That's brilliant. And being a mother with just, I suppose you have got a little bit of use in your arm, but effectively you've raised your children with one hand, single-handed. Have you got any special tips for anybody who's about to go through that, or?
Not really, not that spring to mind. I just think I was winging it. I still am winging it, I think, really.
Yeah.
Um, oh, just definitely a big help is take the help where you can get it. I was terrible at asking. I still am terrible at asking for help. Um, yeah, so I think that would be my only tip, really.
I used to say to my daughter, it's a good job that video cameras weren't on everybody's telephone when she was little, because I used to use, like, for the first 2 years of her life, she had sticky eyes.
Oh
So
yeah,
trying to get eye drops into a child who doesn't want eye drops when you've only got the use of one hand is really hard. So I
yeah,
used to pin her little head between my knees and
oh yeah,
stick the eye drops in while she was crying and carrying on. I
yeah.
used to think it's good.
Well,
Nobody can see what I'm doing here, but
we definitely have had some unconventional ways of doing things. But I do find it easier. Like some things I can't do on myself, I can do on the kids. So I struggle to get myself dressed, but I can wrestle a nappy off a 9-month-old baby that's trying to walk away. Sense.
yeah.
It
And
makes no sense, really.
yeah, and choosing things that you know you'll be able to get on and off them as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah. I think definitely a lot has changed in sort of the way products are designed these days. Even to when I first had Jacob 7 years ago, I see things now and think, oh, that would have been so helpful for me.
Yeah,
But I'm obviously past the baby stage now.
yeah. And like even just like small nappies are just like pull on
Yeah,
pants, aren't they now?
yeah. Both of mine were in pull-ups as soon as they could
Yeah. So
sort
it's
of.
all those little helpful things that you just have
Mm,
to, they are there, you just have to look for them, don't you?
yeah.
I had
Uh,
a, I had a friend who had twins, so I got quite a lot of tips from her because she used to try and do things simultaneously. So it was
yeah.
like she was single-handed.
Yeah. We trying to do it for two.
Yeah, so she had quite a few gadgets for holding one child still and safe while she could
Mm,
deal with the other one. And I thought, oh yeah, that would come in really handy for somebody who didn't have the full use of their right side or left side. Yeah.
yeah, it's difficult, but I think because it's all I've known. I've not ever known having two hands.
Yeah.
I have to very quickly, even when I'm doing things myself, very quickly figure out how you're going to do it with one hand. So it kind of just came naturally.
Yeah.
So I was never thinking, how am I going to do it with one hand? It's just, how am I going to do this?
Yes. Yeah.
I do occasionally find myself, even now, when I see people, like able-bodied people with babies, I think, and I see them taking them out of their pushchair, putting them back in. I just think, oh, that's so easy with two hands. This looks so easy.
Yeah. Teeth are very useful as well.
Yeah. But I did. We still have our challenges now, and I learnt to plait my daughter's hair for the first time a couple of weeks ago, and that felt like one of my biggest milestones
Yeah.
I had. So I've always been worried that I wouldn't be able to do her hair, or things that make her look, you
Has
know.
she got curls like you?
Not quite. My son has. So my son's got my hair. He's basically a copyright of me. But she's got sort of straight at the top and curly at the bottom.
Oh.
So it's a lot easier than having hair like me. But yeah, so I'm still sort of finding new ways to do things even now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sort of nice.
Yeah. Because I was right-handed and
Yeah,
my right side's affected. And when I see people doing things with their right hand, it looks quite strange because I do
mm,
everything with my left, I do a lot of things with my left hand. So to see people using their right hand, I think it's,
yeah.
yeah, it is. It's unusual, but
Oh,
yeah.
I just love sometimes watching the kids use both hands. I think, oh, that's strange. What are you doing it like that for? There's so much. I watch people text with two hands.
Yeah, use both
And I
thumbs.
just think that's a waste of your energy. You could be making a cup of tea with one. Yeah. I mean, I don't have that choice, but you know,
Yeah.
on occasion I look over to my husband and I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you taking like all your fingers to just send one text message?
It's speed texting.
Mm.
Yeah, just wait till your children are teenagers. They'll be
Oh
speed
God.
texting or
Well, the world will look a lot
yeah,
different for them with their technology, I should imagine.
yeah, goodness knows what will be around in 6, 7 years' time. It'll be
Mm.
amazing. It will be amazing. I think briefly earlier on we mentioned that you are a member of Different Strokes Facebook group. Are you a member of a different stroke? Is there a Different Strokes physical group near you?
Oh well, I don't know if there is actually. I think the nearest one might be Chippenham, which might be. I haven't been to it. I haven't. But I think that was about half an hour away, maybe.
Oh right, so it's quite a long way.
Yeah,
Do you
probably looking for
go?
a bit further actually.
Do you use the Facebook group quite a bit? Do you
I
post?
do. I don't. I'm not the most regular of posters, but I do. I do read it quite a lot, and what I know I have posted before when I had some really bad days, and you know what? Actually, to be honest, the Facebook group changed different strokes in itself. Absolutely changed my life and the way I think about myself and my stroke and my disability. Definitely, when I found it, when I found the Facebook group, when I found other people that had strokes that are sort of my age and slightly older. Um, although I don't think there's anyone else that's had a childhood stroke, but actually talking to those people and reading what they're saying and reading their difficulties, and made me realise that were the consequence of my, like some of those things were consequences of my stroke, and not just that I'm finding life really hard. It was a complete eye opener to me. I came to the conference, the last, obviously it was online this year, wasn't it? But the year
Yeah,
before, me and my husband came to the conference and met some people there, some other people, and I'd never even met anyone else that's had a stroke before, and that like I just feel like that was actually really empowering to me because I felt like there was people like me and it wasn't just me.
yeah,
And I can, even now I know I can go, if I'm having a bad day or if I'm struggling with something in particular, I could go and post and say, look, this is really struggling, what are you guys doing? And it's really nice to have that sort of sense of community that I didn't have before. And I think that's massively helped me.
yeah.
So thank you guys for that.
Oh, that's good. Thank you. I shall pass that on. It's, yeah, because I think it's just like you say, it's sharing, isn't it? And it's the peer support, which I think is the root of everything that Different Strokes is about. Is stroke survivors supporting other stroke
Mm.
survivors, and just by the sharing of experiences, sometimes, even if you never ever post on there, you can find out, something that you would never have thought of, and that might just help you through your day.
Yeah, I think definitely the fatigue side of things. When we did the virtual meetup last time and hearing so many other people talk about their fatigue and how much of a common side effect that is, but how less it's talked about by the health professionals,
Yeah,
is really, really important. And sort of learning how to manage that from what other people are doing in real life situations is really, really helpful.
yeah, it's brilliant. I've taken part in quite a few research studies on fatigue,
Have
and
you?
yeah, and it's an eye opener, and um, so many consultants, doctors, nurses, whatever, they would just say, "Oh yes, you are going to be tired for quite a while. That is normal," and then that would
Mm.
be like the end of the subject, not what's causing it, what you could possibly do to help it. So I think there's a lot of research going on into fatigue,
Mm.
um, and whether they'll come up with any answers and not, I don't know. But I think it's it's a greater awareness, and
yeah, definitely. And just pacing, like learning to pace myself, and actually like that it's okay to rest. Like
yeah,
that's you're not doing anything unproductive. You're actually sort of you're doing something productive in preparation for something you're going to do.
yes,
Before. But yeah, I was never, I guess it happened when I was a child, so I was never really told that that was a thing, that I was going to get fatigue. And as I was sort of got more of an adult, and as I get older, it's sort of affecting me more and more. So that's been an absolute lifesaver to talk to other people that are feeling that as well.
yeah. Oh, brilliant. Oh,
And being able to like explain it to other people. So now my husband will tell me before I even know. And that's one of the things I think we got from coming to the conference. He came with me. For him to hear other people's experiences as well was brilliant, because now he can sort of identify it better than I can. He says to me, "You're going to need a rest. Go and have a nap before you do that, or don't do this because you're gonna wear yourself out. You're doing too much." And I'm like, "No, I've got the energy. I'm going to power through."
yeah.
I'm
Go.
my own worst enemy sometimes.
Yes, yeah. Although I do feel that sometimes being a bit stubborn, a bit bloody minded, sometimes gets you through when you have to.
Yeah,
It's just when
yeah.
you can't override the tiredness, isn't it? And you just have to stop. You just really have to listen to your body.
It's a delicate balance, isn't it?
Yeah. Because I've been in the car sometimes, I'm thinking I really should not be driving. I'm far too tired to be
Yeah,
driving, but I've had to go somewhere, and it's recognizing when it's the right time to rest, and like you say, give yourself a break. You need a rest. Yeah,
yeah, 100%. So my fatigue always peaks at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It always is worse between like 3 and 3:30, which of course is school pickup time.
I was gonna say it's poor timing.
So it's not ideal, really. And it wasn't until recently I was like, oh, I better manage that somehow, really. So on sort of my days off, I make sure to have a rest just before then.
Yeah,
I mean, there's not much I can do on my work days, but sort of to be able to manage that has become quite, because I've been in that situation before where I just think, oh, I can't even get up out of the seat to go to the car and walk and sort of pick them up. But yeah, it's all about sort of managing my time now, I think.
yeah,
It
becoming, yeah,
helps being more aware of things.
yeah. That's a really good tip. Just recognizing how your body deals with the fatigue and coming up with a strategy to like you said, to manage it.
Yeah, and I know now, like if I'm gonna one day of the weekend, I need to do nothing. I need to not leave the house. I need to sort of try and rest as much as I can. If I actually want to then do something on the Sunday or the other way around. And then if I want to get through the week, I have to let myself rest,
Yeah,
because it's no good just pretending I'm fine and carry on, because I'll just crash during the week. And really during the week, I can't really afford to do that
yeah,
because I've got other responsibilities. And so I made sure that when my husband's home, I need to actually go and have a sleep for an hour in the afternoon when I can.
yeah.
And that too, yeah, that really helps.
Because otherwise you'd just be working and sleeping, wouldn't you? You wouldn't be
Yeah,
enjoying your family.
and really I have to like make sacrifices. So he takes them out for a walk while I rest. Whereas I think a year or so ago, I'd be like, no, I want to come, I want to do everything, I want to. And now sort of have to realize if I'm going to do something the next day, I've got to pick one thing basically.
Yeah,
And sometimes that might not even be something with the children. That might mean going out for a drink with a friend, or spending some time in the evening with my husband. But it has to be one thing that I have to rest before and after.
yeah. like you're banking some energy
Yeah,
to
saving
use
up my spoon.
later. Yeah, it's so weird how our body works like that, isn't it? But
Yeah.
it's yeah, the amount of people that will say to you, "Oh yeah, I get tired. I get tired too." They've got no idea.
I'm like, yeah, I know you do, but you can't. It's really difficult not to tell other people that not to be like, well, I've got it worse than you.
Yeah, it's not a competition.
No, it's not. Come on, I appreciate you. Like, everyone gets tired, but this is a different kind of tired.
Yeah, yeah. No, no, it's interesting because the research I did was with the University College Hospital in London,
Oh yeah.
and the outcome was it was meant to be a big display in a London art gallery of the physical representation of how stroke survivors experience fatigue. And of course, because of COVID, it's not happened, but they have come up with a cartoon, and it just showed everybody's sort of vision of fatigue was very much the same, that it was all encompassing and overwhelming and nothing that they could control. So it was very interesting. And so
Yeah,
do
that's what.
look out for bits of research like that if you can. So it's
Yeah,
a
will
lot
do.
more
Think,
being done by Zoom, so you don't have to actually physically go anywhere. So that might be, you might find that interesting.
yeah, definitely. And I think those kind of projects and all the research that's been done, I think the more it can give us sort of the language to explain it to other people, the better, really.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
kind of getting other people to like understanding fatigue in itself is one thing. Getting other people who don't suffer from it to understand it is a completely different
Yeah,
thing, really.
yeah. No, it is. It's really interesting. Well, uh, I think I've got everything that all the questions that I had on my list. I've managed to ask you. Is there anything that you think you would pass on to a young stroke survivor growing up with a stroke? You
Oh,
know, what was it like? I'm just I do talk to quite a lot of young stroke survivors who are maybe 16, 17, 18, because we've got a befriending service now, and I can link them up with somebody who's very close to their age. And some of them find it tough as a teenager, having had a stroke, and maybe they didn't even realize they'd had a stroke until they became a teenager. What was your experience and thoughts on growing up being a stroke survivor?
well, you might get me all emotional here.
Oh, right.
It is hard. It's really hard being a teenager that's different or being a child or even an adult being that's different to everybody else and not really having a place or understanding why you're different or what's happened. It's really, really hard. And I think the biggest thing I think you can do is believe in yourself. It sounds really corny. Believe in yourself, accept that things are going to be harder. Like I think I pushed through a lot of my life just thinking I'm fine, there's nothing different. There obviously was and is something different.
Yeah.
But actually, the more that I accepted that, the more, and I think I was probably 22, 23 before I really accepted what happened to me. The more I dealt with it and was aware of my abilities, the easier it became. So I think, like, if you are a teenager growing up, being different, have different abilities to everybody else, don't just try and fit in. Don't just try and get on with it, because the best thing you can do for yourself is accept that you are different, and that's fine and that's amazing. And there will be so many better things about you than you would realise, than there would be if you just try to be like everyone else.
Yeah.
It's a bit boring being like everybody else. And yeah, just don't be afraid to ask for help. I think I probably went through so much in my life not asking for help when I needed it, and finding everything so much more difficult.
Yeah. Because it's bad enough being a teenager, isn't it, and trying to fit in and just accepting a little bit of help.
Yeah, and I think, well, being an able-bodied teenager is really hard as
Yeah,
well,
yeah, it is. Yeah,
let alone being sort of a disabled teenager, or even if a stroke doesn't make you it doesn't give you disabilities, but dealing with that sort of dealing with the experience of having a stroke, it's still quite, I should imagine, quite difficult. And I think the more support you can get from that, the more people you know in the same situation who you can identify with, the better, really. I wish I had that support when I was
yeah,
a teenager. I mean, I have had a lot of support from lots of able-bodied, like also lots of my family and lots of other able-bodied people in my life. But having that connection to somebody who knows what you're going through, I think is invaluable, really.
yeah, yeah. I think there's something about being part of a peer support group that you don't have to explain yourself all the
Mm.
time. And yeah, I think yeah, as a teenager, you could have it could have been a good help just to talk to somebody, couldn't it? Just who was in the
Yeah,
same boat as yourself.
yeah,
Yeah,
it would have been really helpful.
yeah,
Made it out of teenage
yeah.
life, I think, with not too scarred.
No. Oh, well, thank you so much for speaking with me today.
Oh, thank you for
And
having me.
yeah, I just hope you're not too exhausted. And go down. Have you got a chance to close your eyes today?
No, I think my husband's about to pop out actually, so I don't.
Obviously.
That's what I've had for the children.
Oh, that's brilliant. Oh, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. It was lovely to speak to you.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Speak to you soon.